Hello there, I'm Denise Richardson for Howdini.com. This is a really interesting issue for all of us, especially in these days and times. How much independence should your child have, and when? There's no one better to discuss this right now than Ann Pleshette Murphy, who's the author of The 7 Stages of Motherhood, as well as a contributing parent authority at Good Morning America. Thank you for being with us. You want to give your child as much independence so that they can grow up and be in the world, yet still these are precarious times.
A lot of parents will say, well, how old should my child be before I let her walk to school by herself?
Right.
And of course, so much depends on where you live and how far she has to go, but it's very important to consider your kid's temperament more than their age. There are 11-year-olds who are very, let's just say, even-tempered, and they have a lot of street smarts, and they could go out in the world and be fine a lot sooner than a less mature 15-year-old. So assess your child's temperament, and how well does your child handle other responsibilities and other kinds of freedoms before you're saying, oh sure, just go to school by yourself.
So you have to have the discussion, because the first issue is safety. You don't want them to be afraid of everyone.
Right.
And yet you don't want them not to be aware of everyone.
Right. Well, I think that actually one of the stupidest things that we tell kids is don't talk to strangers. I think that's one of the biggies for a lot of parents with young children. You absolutely want to teach your kid what to do if they are lost or confused, and that means they have to learn which strangers they should talk to. The simplest rule is ask a woman. Just pure numbers, it's safer for them to go to a woman to ask for help. But I think that the other issue is practice. You need to give them little baby step opportunities to show you that they can handle more independence.
All of a sudden I thought of those people who have puppies and say, come see my puppy. And so many kids, even though they've had the lessons from their parents, gravitate to going to look at that little doggy. But that's part of the independence factor.
Certainly talking about the fact that grown-ups don't need help. If somebody says, can you help me out here, or would you come over to my car because I'm lost, and explain something to me. And yes, you can use the puppy example or the candy example, or just the simple thing, you never ever go with somebody who you don't know.
How do you expand the independence and relate it to responsibilities?
I think it's very important to relate independence to responsibility, and I think that can be as simple as you got more chores to do now that you're more independent, or okay, we're extending your curfew to 11 o'clock from 10 o'clock on weekends, but if you miss your curfew, we're moving it back. And look, the great thing about cell phones, in my day, I could always use the excuse, oh, there was no payphone for miles, Mom. With my kids, I have to say I have much more peace of mind knowing that I can text them or call them if I'm worried, or just remind them that it's midnight and they were supposed to be home an hour ago.
Every child says, but Jamie's mom's letting her do that. Why can't I do it too? And you say, because there are a lot of parents out here who want to compete to be their kid's friend.
Right. Really good point. I think, the most obvious response is, I'm not Jamie's mom. And that may be true in their family, but that's not true in our family. I think if you have a sense that you are the only parent whose kid is not, walking to school by himself, it's worth it to call around and just say, we're nervous about this, tell me what your thinking was. Maybe they can walk together. I think that, there is this fine line between absolutely not wanting to be your kid's friend, you have to be their parent. But if your rules do seem to feel much stricter than everybody else's, it's time to maybe do a little check-in and see where they're coming from.
And this is what this is about, giving parents some peace of mind and some help. Thank you, Ann Pleshette Murphy, for doing
Thanks.
that.